Hey everybody. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the latest in the DeepNewz app, which is live on Testflight and up to 10,000 of you can test it. So check it out. It'll be on the App Store soon, but this is live and this is something you could see yourself. So let's dive in. Take a look at, so basically we have three tabs, the top news, the For You personalized recommendation, the latest news. Top news is going to be just top news overall. Things like, T-Mobile acquires US Cellular, the Celtics game. Actually, this is kind of a mistake. The Celtics actually won and swept. And the duplication basically sort of preferred game three story because it was more exciting, even though it's a little bit older. So this is actually kind of, the AI still has some bugs, but we definitely have the Celtics winning the game. Um, we have some AI fundraising stories. Um, you know, Also Nasdaq listed company buys Bitcoin, that sort of thing. So that's going to be your top news. As you can see, stories that are like fresh and breaking are labeled as breaking. So and these can be pretty major and pretty minor. DNC is to nominate Biden and Harris. I wouldn't say it's a huge story, but this is new today. Um, Macron makes a statement about Russia. That was definitely kind of a big story. As you can see here, we can just flip to the next story. You know, Major League umpire and Angel Hernandez retired yesterday after a settlement. This was another kind of big story yesterday. The Mountain Gods Bitcoin was moving again, according to wallets. So you can see sort of a bunch of people mention that. Yeah, you can see here. Yeah, so a bunch of crypto people were pointing out that the Mountain Gods Bitcoin was moving. That's owned by the federal government. Um, if you go to For You, so we completely reorganized this. Instead of logging in and tracking things, this is basically all done locally. So all we're really looking at is stories that we favorited before, bookmarked and favorited. Then we use those to recommend other stories, including smaller ones we may have missed. And only show you stories you haven't seen. So for example here, oh yeah, the big breaking story is FTX co-CEO Ryan Salame. I think it's Salame is sentenced to 90 months, sort of as another follow-up to the SBF case. You can read all the details there, all the tweets about it. This is obviously a story from a couple of days ago, but XAI raised 6 billion. So that ends up in my personalized recommendation. And here, this four number that's basically showing breaking news that are within the personalized recommendations. And sometimes we get them wrong. So in this case, I'm not particularly maybe interested in the story. I can just get rid of it, unfavorite it, and that also updates my recommendations as well. Um, yeah, so there we go. Let's go through all the other ones. So Biden campaign holds a press conference. Yeah, saw this news earlier. Biden campaign holds a press conference outside of the Trump trial with Robert De Niro. This is closing arguments in the Trump trial. We can also see related stories. So we're going to have more De Niro stories, more Trump stories. Yeah, definitely not the first time that De Niro has gone after Trump, as you can sort of see. And here, if we really, really just want to see the latest news, we can hit refresh. These are the latest stories. But as you see, not all of them are breaking. So again, yep, we have the Nero one here, but also like some pretty minor sports stories, you know, a Nicki Minaj story. Again, prosecutor making closing arguments in the Trump case, all kinds of stuff. A lot of sports, a lot of recent stuff. You can sort of flip through all that. Anyway, so that is Deep News. You can check it out. You can get news recommendations, recent news, top news, breaking, that sort of stuff. Also, you can search for anything. So, for example, you can, in the in the case of the Jenner coin, you can look at what results we get there. Takes a little bit of a second, as you see. Caitlyn Jenner launches the Jenner token. A couple of stories on that. Also starts returning Kim Kardashian news from so it's like sort of a smart vector search that sort of knows related topics. Yeah, apparently Northwest is in the Lion King. That's nice. And Kendall Jenner has been hanging out with Bad Bunny in Miami. So there is your Kardashian news. along with crypto and Trump and and much more minor topics. For example, you know you can do something like law or real estate, something relatively niche, and see what the stories there are. Ooh, we actually have some breaking. Oh, that's interesting. We have a couple of breaking law stories. A lot of these are Supreme Court stories because the court is in session. Supreme Court declines review of Florida's jury system. Okay, that's interesting. Basically, I guess there was a question of whether 12 jurors should be a standard. That's an interesting story. I didn't know that. I guess that's new. And if you look at the next story, Supreme Court to hear San Francisco versus EPA on water pollution. I don't know too much about that, but that'll be interesting to see how they rule. And so on and so forth. Um, this is really kind of aggregating what law bloggers and sites are talking about. So it's not necessarily like a regex for the Supreme Court. It's going to have all kinds of law stories. But as you see, it's really kind of focused on law. Not a lot of Trump stuff here. Nothing at all, really. A lot of Supreme Court stuff. Pretty cool. Kind of like nice that you can have niches like that, as well as something like real estate. Let's see if we have any news there. Yeah, definitely some you know housing inventory stuff. Housing prices up, housing prices down. Kind of cool. Hundreds of topics like this. Anyway, so check it out. Check out DeepNewz. We're still working on some features in some UI. Some people have pointed out that the breaking, like the red thing, is a little bit aggressive, so we may tone it down just a little bit for UI. But I do think it's nice to sort of notice which stories are really kind of fresh and popping. Gives you sort of a reason to catch up, and yeah, that's deep news for you. Take care.